Texas Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne. Wanted to get your reaction, Congresswoman, to Leader Mitch McConnell there, calling the leak a toxic stunt. Senator Chuck Schumer recently threatened two Supreme Court justices on those same Supreme Court steps. And now this leak. When do you think Democrats are actually going to pay a price for their promotion of mob rule and violence?
Well, I think what you're saying is Democrats are trying to change the rules because they know they're about to lose in the midterm. So they're trying to change the narrative because they're losing on everything else. But this leak, as you mentioned, is completely unprecedented, potentially illegal, and needs to be investigated. And the folks who did it need to be prosecuted. I mean, they're doing nothing more than than intimidating and politicizing the courts, the justices, and it's completely. It's irrational, not to mention dangerous. And they basically there's five justices who have come out in the potential draft, and the potential ruling now have targets on their back, and that should never have happened. It should never happen again. And it needs to be investigated. But that's set aside. I mean, the fact is that there's a big if. This is a draft. We don't know what the final ruling is going to be, but if Roe versus Wade is overturned, which it should be, it was a mistake that was made nearly 50 years ago to somehow find in the Constitution that there was a protection on abortion, which never existed. But if it is overturned, the far cry from the Democrats that it is somehow making abortion illegal is completely wrong. That is a lie. Is the Ministry of Truth going to look at that? That's not what's happening. What it is doing is it is putting that back in the power of the states, which is where it always should have been to begin with. And that's what we're looking at right now if Roe versus Wade is overturned. The states have the ability to be able to look as elected officials who are completely and directly accountable to their constituency what they want that rule to be like and what they want it to look like. Identify the fact that it was never a constitutionally endorsed idea that we were going to somehow kill children in the womb.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, as we outlined in the preamble. Meantime, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris responded. They're calling on lawmakers to protect the slaughter of children in the womb. Here's what Biden, though, had to say back in 2006 on the matter.
I do not view abortion as a choice and a right. I think it's always a tragedy, and I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions, and there ought to be able to have a common ground and consensus as to do that.
Only difference, I guess, Congressman, between then and now is right now Joe Biden's having words put in his head by the leftist millennial know-nothings who run his life. What do you think?
Oh, I'd say it's not just Joe Biden. I mean, we're looking at a Congress that has moved so far to the left that they're ignoring the Hyde Amendment. They want to get rid of that, which basically prevented taxpayer dollars from being able to be used to slaughter children in the womb. This Congress wants to get rid of that, the Democrats in this Congress. You've also seen the extreme measures in which millions of children over the years since Roe v. Wade have been murdered. But you've seen how that's happened. And lately, the Democrats have moved from Joe Biden's original comments we just heard to now not even being able to protect a child once it's been born, allowing a child to die on an operating table after a botched abortion. That is how far the left has come. And I think that's why you're seeing states start to rise up. It was not because, Republicans were so heavy to go after this issue. It's because Democrats have been so vehement in how they're going to murder and slaughter babies that they have pushed this on states to get some source of values and morals back to the table.
Out in California, they're contemplating passing an infanticide bill to kill babies after they're born, for crying out loud. That's how degenerate the left-wing Democrats have become. They're fundraising off this. Speaking of degenerate Democrats, they're fundraising off this, Congresswoman, leaving many to question the timing of this leak and the level of coordination of the Democrat Party and this leak. Do you think that folks are going to forget about inflation, gas prices, empty store shelves, all of this, in an effort to say, gee, I'm going to vote for Democrats now so we can continue to slaughter babies? Do you think that's how it's going to go in the fall?
I think Democrats have seen the writing on the wall that the botched administration, their horrible policies and the results that they have had on working Americans' lives, on everyday American lives. More money at the gas tank that they're having to pay out, having to decide between food or filling up their gas tank, looking at shortages on the shelves. Those are realistic issues that every American is dealing with. But that is, the writing is on the wall. And I think what you're seeing is Democrats are desperate to pull out an issue that they think that they can pivot, change, shiny object, look over here that they want to debate. It's misinformation at its worst. And we're seeing it over time and time again, not only from this administration, but from these radical Democrats who don't really care about doing anything for the working families in this country. I mean, let's talk about inflation. Let's talk about what's going on at our border. Let's talk about our foreign policy. Let's talk about our economy and opening it back up. But they want to shoo all that underneath the rug. They're completely out of touch. I mean, the elitists, you saw it at the correspondents' dinner. The elitists are laughing at us, and folks who are electing them are letting them.
Yeah, and you know what, folks out there, I wonder if you can fill up your gas tank on abortion. I wonder if you can put food on your family's table on abortion. Chuck Schumer seems to think so, but I think you might find some struggles there. Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
My office is getting. Yeah, those are not the calls my office is getting.
I know, I hear you.
We're not getting calls about that.